What's going on, everybody? Mark here. This is the Big Critique Podcast. So today, first of all, happy Thursday. Quick little spiel about what I'm drinking right here. It's just Wild Turkey Forgiven. Just one relaxation glass. It's been a long week. So, what am I coming to you guys with today? All right. I wanted to make this video for quite some time, but every time I started to record it, I would fumble with what I was saying, and I would end up deleting, and I never ended up posting. Because this is difficult shit to talk about. So, just make sure I'm in frame properly. Yeah, I guess that's fine. So, last year, I lost a very close friend of mine. He was like an older brother to me. And he was fat as fuck. There's really no way around it. However, don't get it twisted. He was only really that obese. We're talking about, 500 pounds-ish. He was very, very heavy. But the only reason he was that obese is because it was a byproduct of a much larger problem that he was dealing with, which was anxiety and depression, mental illness. I know I see a lot of people post videos on here, and they're all doing it. Well, I don't want to say they're all doing it for the views and for the likes, because any one of you can make that sort of accusation to me. Of course, I want people to see this, but I'm really just putting this out there because the truth is I just don't want him to have died in vain. Thing is, he was just another guy. He worked a job. He went home. He had dinner with his family. And he did it again the next day. He was an average Joe, but he had a heart of gold. And he was my best friend at one point. We faded a little over the years because things change, and what you do every day changes. You grow apart a little bit. It happens. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let his life go in vain. Because he was a very, very good human being, and I like to hope that there's things that can be learned from his death. So he died at 45. And, as much as he was brought into this world, he had a tough hand in life. Some people get very lucky. Not to say that anybody's life is perfect. Some people, for example, Jeff Bezos, his kid. Most people would probably look at him as a very, very lucky kid. Got born into that family. Got dealt a great hand. But you never know how he really feels. He could end up being depressed as hell one day. Who knows? Anyway, my friend, his name was Jeff, and he was born, he had a tough upbringing, and so I'm trying to formulate my thoughts on this properly. Essentially, he had a really tough upbringing. He dealt with severe depression for a number of reasons. His weight was a large portion of it. Coming from a lower income neighborhood, having to deal with all the shit and drama that comes from a situation like that. So let's talk about anxiety and depression. So first of all, how do I deal with his death every day? Everybody deals with death a little differently. No, I don't have the sniffles. It's just a little stuffy in my living room. To be quite honest with you, it took me a little while to cry this one out. Male, female, I don't really give a shit what gender you are. They, I don't, want to offend anybody. Crying is a human emotion. It's perfectly normal. And if you don't cry when somebody dies, you should figure out how to do it, because it probably helped you out a little bit. It took me a little while. It took me probably 2 to 3 weeks of just trying to, because for me personally, I knew that I needed to do it to get through it, to at least try to cope with it. And it wasn't easy, but I was able to bring myself to do it one night, like 3 weeks after I found out he passed away. I just imagined somebody at this gathering we were throwing for him, giving a toast to him, and I completely broke down. And that was good. That was what I needed. I haven't actually cried about it since then. But so how I deal with his death every day is I do my very best. I'm not gonna say to live life like the fullest. I hate that fucking quote because I feel like, how could you proclaim to do that? That's very difficult to do. Everybody has to go to fucking work. And when you're at work, you're living life to the fullest. No, you're going to work and fucking producing for people that may or may not give two shits about you. No. The choice that I made is that I work really fucking hard at everything that I want to accomplish now. And that means, for the most part, not really going out too much on the weekends anymore. It may have something to do with the fact that I'm in my early 30s. I'm 32. And it's pretty much settled down. I'm engaged. I'm very lucky, by the way, that's the case. I know there's a bunch of people out there in a similar situation to me that aren't so lucky. So I am lucky when it comes to that. It wasn't always, just so you're aware. I've definitely dealt with my fair share of depression before. But anyway, so the way I'm getting through this is, eventually one day I want to open up a not-for-profit. And you see, I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm not really one to give a flying fuck about helping people in general. The only reason I'm doing this is because he had a heart of gold. And I really don't want his name to die in vain. And if I can help people in the process, so I guess I do care a little bit about helping people. I don't want to seem like I'm trying to be cold about it. I have more of a creative and a business head than anything else. It's nothing personal. Usually I don't care so much to help people, which is why I didn't go into medicine or anything like that. But this is very personal for me. So if I can help people with this, then yes, it would definitely make me happy to do so. So every day now, I get up very early. I get up average 5:30 in the morning. If I'm really advantageous, I'll get up more towards 4:30 and leave work a little earlier. I have kind of flexible hours like that. Again, I'm very blessed or lucky, whatever you want to say. And I'll get to work. Well, that's a lie. I get up. I start my day, take a shower. I get most of my news via cell phone and just apps and stuff. I'm pretty well immersed into the stock market and cryptocurrency markets right now, so I just sort of try to get all my financial news and stuff early in the morning, like on the train on the way to work. But the ventures that I'm in right now, this is sort of a channel that, I'll be honest with you, my content is everywhere on this channel, as if you look through it or not. They tell you to stick to one thing. I never really figured out what I wanted to stick to when it comes to this channel. So it's kind of like everywhere. There's a little bit of critique in here. Like I've critiqued some pizzeria before. Did an entrepreneurs podcast where I interviewed a buddy of mine who has his own drone instruction company. He teaches people about how to fly drones and whatnot. Yeah, I haven't really figured it out, but I figured at the very least I can probably develop some consistency and make a series about how I deal with the loss of my friend, which will lead into how I would recommend from my experience. I went through depression for about 15 years. Thankfully, I'm not really doing it anymore. It's definitely a consistent battle, but over the time, it gets better and better and better, and you learn to fight your way through yourself on a regular basis. So anyway, I go to work. I do my thing at work. I come home and I work on the things, the projects that I want to see come alive and truly alive, that I really want to have an audience with 4 to 5 years from now. So here's the part of my life that I truly am at, I guess. Whatever I'm building, if it if I'm lucky enough for it to turn into like any of this turn into a successful business, whatever I'm building, is not truly gonna get to be any decent version of itself for another few years. If it does, I'd be incredibly lucky, but I far from expect it. I haven't even really truly begun to put the work in. This is like the first year that I'm really truly starting to grind and put content out. So that's my why. My why is because somebody who I used to call my brother, and I still do, my older brother, he passed away. And he got a really unfair chance at life in a lot of ways. And it happens every day. People are born into this world, and they're born with perspectives brought on them by small-minded and miserable people. Like, for example, maybe you grew up in a family where, money was scarce, or your parents didn't get along or whatever reason, and maybe you were brought up feeling like you couldn't achieve certain things. You would think that in 2019, when the internet is everywhere and the instructions for how to gain whatever level of success are pretty much all out for the public to hear, you would think that that people would be more receptive to new and, like, I don't want to say groundbreaking, but whatever, new ideas and stuff. But a lot of people are still very old school and set in their ways and afraid. They're very, very afraid. So this is my shot at trying to help all those people that are afraid. Because let's dig into depression real quick. I'm going to cut this video rather short because I want to eat dinner. And I kind of just wanted to start the series off. But just to start this off a little bit. So I went through depression that probably started early high school. I didn't really know what it was then. I thought what I was thinking was normal. Like, I was just a emo kid, right? It wasn't normal. I just didn't know it. I had like ADD, depression, and every single mental illness you could probably think. Well, that's not true. I don't want to say that. I know for a fact that I was diagnosed with ADD, and I know that I had depression because those two do coincide. So I had that in high school. The fuck do I know? I'm 15. The internet was just starting out. This plethora and overload of information didn't exist back then. So I was just an emo kid listening to emo music, thinking everything was miserable. Thankfully, over the years, I was able to come out of it and brought myself to a place where I really love to help other people get through their shit. So I guess I could start off talking about like some steps I would take to get out of depression. The first thing is I'm obviously no physician. So if you're watching this and you're in the shit, I will call it the shit because being depressed is a really shitty place to be. First thing I would tell you to do is go see a doctor. See what they would tell you about yourself that you might not already have realized or know. Maybe it's not depression, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's an easier fix than you think. Maybe it's just as simple as talking to somebody that you've never gotten their perspective on things before. So I guess that would be my first tip is if you're really depressed, have a conversation with somebody that you would have never normally had a conversation with. Maybe someone that even intimidates you a little bit. Because the first step of depression is breaking out of a shell. Again, so I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when you're depressed, you're in your own little jail cell, right? And there is no key. That's the problem. There's no key. You think you'll be stuck there forever. Don't have to be. You just have to start taking one small step for man. No? I don't know. Whatever. One small step for man. And you have to, I'm being so fucking cheesy right now. And you need to step out of your comfort zone. Thing is, when you're in that jail cell, you get comfortable. You ever hear the term misery loves company? Well, I can promise you, and I do know this from experience, when you're depressed, you're probably hanging out with people that are just as fucking miserable as you are. I can almost promise you. Because, I don't know, whoever ends up watching this, if you've ever heard of the laws of attraction before, but pretty much they state, you are who you associate with. You're the sum of 5 people you associate with. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of miserable fucks, guess what the likelihood of you not being miserable is? Very small. You're hanging out with people that are positive and bringing you up, then there's a shot that you will bring yourself out of it. Now, I do want to bring one thing up before I go with relation to this topic. I actually think it is kind of a good idea, within reason, to keep 1 or 2 asshole friends around. As long as they don't destroy you mentally, they shouldn't put you down. But you do need the person or people in your lives to tell you in very blunt ways, that's fucking dumb, you shouldn't do it. No, you shouldn't date him or her, that's fucking stupid, that's a poor decision. Yes, you should do this, you should absolutely do this. However, they shouldn't put you down. But you absolutely want people in your life to call it as they see it, or whatever the case may be. A lot of people are pussies. A lot of your friends will beat around the bush and not say the hard shit to you for fear of how it'll make you feel and how you will respond. And it's kind of amazing to me, actually, that people still do this, even though being the type of person to call it as you see it, or being blunt, not beating around the bush, you would think that people know this is a thing and that people know it's appreciated in a lot of social circles. But even to this day, most people, a large portion of people, for whatever reason, can't bring themselves to open up their fucking mouths. So start talking to people that will open up their fucking mouths and enunciate things properly, because I clearly can't do that. So yeah, that would be my biggest piece of advice. Also, own all of your shit. If you can start to own all of your shit, and by own, I don't mean like pay for it. I mean like the most truthful way possible. Be aware of your downfalls and understand that that's okay. Now, say for example, one of your downfalls is you think you're fucking ugly, right? It's possible. Look, let's call a fucking a spade or whatever, right? I've been there before. Why do you think I got the beard on? I look like a lesbian without this beard. It's true. I look like a lesbian without this beard. No offense to any lesbians, please. I didn't mean to offend anybody. I'm like the least offensive person possible, or try to be at least. But I put this on because it like squares out my face and, makes me more confident and stuff. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I'm lying about this. I haven't shaved in so long, but I probably would still have the courage to stream this even if I had no beard. Don't ask me to shave it though. It's not going to happen. But every once in a while, I get a little advantageous and I do it. But yeah, you got to be honest with yourself. So even if you're depressed because you feel ugly, could be a big reason why you feel depressed. Let's call a spade again. Because what happens when you feel ugly? You feel like no one's going to want you. Male or female, we all, from a very innate, animalistic or whatever level, want to be wanted, right? That's what everybody wants. They want to be wanted. So if you don't feel the best version of yourself, if you can't feel your inner alpha, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, then that's a problem. That's a problem you need to solve, right? You gotta try to get in touch with your inner alpha, right? That's what you need to do. So now if you feel ugly, for whatever reason, here's 2 different ways to look at it. I'm sure there is a way for you to not feel ugly. Maybe change your haircut, maybe dress a little differently, maybe you go to the gym. B, I've learned this. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel about there's somebody out there for everybody. I'm not going to do that because I don't know. I can't make that guarantee. It's a large claim to make. I will tell you that in the number of odds game, right? So if you take a line of people together, I can't give you a number exactly. I can't say 10 or 20 people together, right? But if you're a male and you feel like you look like shit, that's just the fucking cards you were born with, and you feel like you don't have the type of personality to attract people to talk to you or hang out with you. So maybe you feel like you're not good looking and you can't talk to people, right? That could be a thing. I don't know. Excuse me. Got mouth. So if you feel like that's the case, just by numbers alone, like playing the odds of life, bet if you get 20 or 30 people in a room, I don't know, 5 or 10 of them will, at minimum, will find you attractive, right? Now, you would say to me, or you might say, but what if those 10 or 15 people, whatever, out of how many people are in a room find me attractive, what if I'm not attracted to any of them? Well, law of averages says that you will be attracted, you will match up to at least 1 or 2 people in some way or shape or form. So if you're depressed about being alone or because you feel ugly or something like that, it's temporary. I promise you in the next few days, somebody will brighten up your day and not even realize that they're doing it. So I think this is where I'm going to cut it short. I hope that this helped people. Again, well, actually I didn't say this before, but I would love it if you guys left comments, subscribed. I do another podcast with some friends you might find a lot more entertaining. It's called The Nothing Podcast. I left the link in the down below in the description box. It's called The Nothing Podcast. It's a lot more lively. We joke around. We try to make people laugh. I don't know how good at it we are, but if you want to find a livelier podcast, that's probably the way to go. This is just more of a self-help thing at the moment. And I'll produce some more of these. But yeah, so, all right. I don't know the next time I will post. Maybe I'll have time to post something else tomorrow. Anyway, good night, guys. All the best. I'm going to eat some dinner. Oh, cheers.